Hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are live. It is Sunday night. This is I. I am filming in front of a live studio
My name's
audience.
Sam Young,
Oh my goodness.
as in
And there are commercials apparently in the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, hello, good evening. This is Zai the Money Guy. I'm live on TikTok. This is a live show unlike any other. I do go live every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Today is January 3rd, 2021. I have a doozy of a show for you tonight. If you would like to join, I definitely would love to have you. Please join, please interact, please comment. In the next 30 to 45 minutes, we are going to talk about a few things, in particular, stuff that relates to money and how it can improve your life, make you better with money. You know, the point of my TikTok account and my TikTok channel, and anytime I go live, is to really simplify and make money accessible to everyone as it should, right? So, excuse me, I do my best to try to explain simple things, right? Like how to save money, how to build an emergency fund, how to track your transactions, a budgeting tool called You Need a Budget, and so on and so on. And I want to educate people, I want to educate my audience so that they can become better with money, so that they can succeed in life. And I'm also probably going to talk about career related stuff. So I've been, my career spanned over 20 years, so I will give any career tips whenever I can. And think along the lines of health, wealth, and self. Okay. And I do want to remind you that tonight's episode is brought to you by Gatorade, Gatorade Thirst Quencher. This is the blue flavor. I don't know what flavor that is. Cool blue. I don't know how you describe that. It's not a fruit. It's delicious though. Gatorade. This episode is brought to you by Gatorade. Not really brought to you by, but one day I'm hoping I will have a sponsor that will sponsor my show.
now. Meet me on the mat for a quick stretch. This is
Let me just
amazing.
skip
Sit
the ad.
down at the desk.
1 second. As you can tell, I am filming in front of a live studio audience here in Toronto, Ontario. We are following all COVID protocols, ensuring that everybody is safe. Okay. And hello, Caitlin. Caitlin, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining. I'm going to try my best, Caitlin, to entertain you for the next 30 to 40 minutes. You don't have to stay for the whole thing. It's TikTok. I get it. But I'm going to talk about money, how to improve your life when it comes to money. I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday night. It is January 3rd, 2021. And I'm hoping that this time that my video is able to save. This is episode 6 of my show, and episode 5 did not save. And usually they do. I post my videos on my YouTube channel as well, which I'm trying to grow. But nonetheless, I won't get into the reason why it didn't save. I think I said something controversial, and I don't think the TikTok gods liked it. That's my theory. It could be completely wrong. Maybe it just didn't save. But nonetheless, I'm hoping that this saves because I will publish this episode to YouTube after we are live on TikTok. But you are part of an exclusive live broadcast of Zai the Money Guy on Sunday night. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. So, my motto is you don't have to be a financial expert to be an expert in your finances. Okay? And I truly believe that because I'm not a certified accountant. I'm not a multi-million dollar entrepreneur. I'm just a regular guy who works in Toronto for a software company, but over time and with practice, I figured out a way to adjust my finances. And I did it by learning, the hard way. Made a lot of mistakes in my 20s. I had, bad credit and I had to fix that. And now I have really good credit. But I figured out a system to get, in my opinion, good with my money or to at least eliminate the stress that's involved with money. And some of the ways that I do that is by living below my means and living without credit card debt. So I have next to no credit card debt. I actually I pay zero interest on any of my credit card purchases. Still use my credit card, but I pay zero in interest. I've built a significant emergency fund of, for me, over a year. I did the math just the other day, and I don't say this to brag, but it took some work and it took some strategy, but I got my emergency fund to about 1.5 years. So what that means is without any income, I will be financially stable for 1.5 years. And that was a big goal of mine, and I worked on that. And one way I did that is through a software tool called You Need a Budget. I do not work for YNAB. Okay, so YNAB is short for You Need a Budget, but I'm a huge fan of theirs. I interact with them, their TikTok account continuously. I'm passionate about the software. It really helped me prioritize all of my money and it helped me build that emergency fund. Um, I do, full disclosure, I did put together a Udemy course over the summer that talks about how I reached these 5 different goals in my life. And I just share, I share it in my course with whoever's interested um, for them to learn how they can live below their means, build a really nice emergency fund, eliminate their credit card debt, and just healthy financial habits. That's what my account is about. That's what my course on Udemy is about. I'm not here to pressure anyone into buying the course, but if you want to learn more about it, it is in my profile link. It's called How to Budget Through Better Habits. The reason I put that course together was because I felt that nobody teaches you how to save money, which is really interesting because you find all of the courses that kind of skip all of the savings steps and go straight into investing. And for me, I felt that was too overwhelming for a lot of beginners, right? I think beginners just need to be shown the path of just taking the simple steps, right? It's like, how do you save money? How do you eliminate your credit card debt? There's different methods. Dave Ramsey, he talks about a couple of methods, but when push comes to shove, what do you have to do? What method is for you? How do you, get over those mental hurdles? How do you change your frame of mind? In my course, I do talk about long-term gains versus short-term gains, right? And oh, welcome to the show, Bubble Tea. I love me some boba. Absolutely. I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday night. If you're new to my channel and to my show, I do a weekly show every Sunday night at 7 p.m. where I actually go through an agenda and we're going to talk about all sorts of stuff. It's about money, it's about improving your life. I hope that I can entertain you in the next 30 to 40 minutes. If you can stick around, that's great. If you have any questions, drop them in the comment. Otherwise, I'm hoping you're having a wonderful Sunday night. It's January 3rd, 2021. I am filming in front of a live studio audience. We're following all of the COVID protocols. Okay. This episode is brought to you by Gatorade. Gatorade. Flavor is cool blue. Okay, it's delicious. Thank you, Gatorade. I was talking a little bit about myself, so I'm not a financial expert, whatever that means, but I just got myself to a point where one of my goals was removing a lot of the financial stress and financial burden from my life, and I figured out how to do that. And I also mentioned that I do have a Udemy course in my profile. If anyone is interested, you can check it out. I'm not here to pressure you, but I was talking about this need for just a very straightforward and simple course for personal finance. I felt it wasn't available on the market, so I created one over the summer. It's available in my profile. So enough of the intro. Let's go into the news portion of my show. And ladies and gentlemen, I have a doozy for you. And this one's a big one because usually on my channel, I talk about personal finance, and rarely do I talk about the B word. The B word. Everyone's talking about it. That's Bitcoin. Cryptocurrency. And there's a reason that I do not talk about Bitcoin on any of my videos or in my channel is because for someone, trying to improve their finances, do I think that Bitcoin is a good place to start? I'm not certain. And there's a little bit of irony because I'm actually I work in the software industry, and I work in particularly in the blockchain field, right? So I work with blockchain developers, and I'm a consultant. I'm a blockchain consultant, and we build enterprise blockchain solutions. And I am not personally, I'm not heavily invested in Bitcoin. You might find that awfully strange. And it's interesting because I'm on a team of blockchain developers, and I would say about 50% are interested in the coins and 50% aren't. For me, there really isn't any personal reason why I'm not heavily invested into blockchain. I maybe I'm not truly being honest there. So for me, I think there was a lot of risk, and I'm a little bit more risk adverse. So I'm what you could say a traditional, um, fairly conservative passive investor. So now that doesn't mean I'm not an innovative person because I'm on a blockchain team. I'm super passionate about blockchain and technology. That's where I think a lot of the potential is. But everyone's talking about blockchain. So especially today, pardon me, everyone's talking about Bitcoin. Especially today, I got a message from a friend, and one of my friends messaged me, and he asked me if I knew what the price of Bitcoin was today. And I took a look, and it is at $33,000 USD, 33K USD. Just in December, it was at 29K. Now, these are massive numbers, right? That's a massive increase. If you're just tuning in, this is Zai, the Money Guy. We are live on Sunday night. Leave a comment if you are invested in BTC, in Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. Let me know what your thoughts are on cryptocurrency. Um, Everybody's talking about it, and we're going to talk about it a little bit tonight in the news portion of my program. Thank you for joining. I hope I can provide you some entertainment in the next 30 to 40 minutes. So, in the news, I look at headlines, and today's headline is about Bitcoin. Here's the article, and I highly suggest that you check out this article. The headline is why Bitcoin's all-time high in 2021 is different than it was in 2017. The website is growaholiclab.com. The author is Francesco Gelati. It's a 10-minute read. So let me just say it again. Why Bitcoin's all-time high in 2021 is different than it was in 2017. The URL is growaholiclab.com. So growaholiclab.com, growaholiclab.com. The author is Francesco Gelati. It's a 10-minute read. He talks about why he thinks, or she, pardon me, Francesco, they talk about why they think that Bitcoin's value in 2021, it's an all-time high. It's this morning it was at $33,000 for one Bitcoin USD. They think that it's different than how it was in 2017. So in 2017, if I recall, it hit a peak and then it went down, right? And everybody talks about how blockchain, pardon me, Bitcoin goes sort of up and down. It's kind of like a roller coaster ride, but as it is right now, it continues to go up. And a lot of people are wondering, they're speculating if it's on the precipice of falling down. But this article caught my eye because I think, and this isn't advice, I'm not giving any coin advice or financial advice, but I think it might be different. Might be different in 2021, and we might be reaching a point. This is strictly my opinion. We might be reaching a point where it is approaching the mainstream adoption, or starting to become at least acknowledged. And I think it's at a turning point. Now, I say that now, who knows, by tomorrow or a week from now, I could be completely wrong, because if it drops and takes this sort of skydive downwards, then it might lose all of it's enthusiasm, right? And maybe that's not a very strong argument that I just put forth, but this person, right, Francesco Gelati, in this article thinks that this year is different than 2017, and I've highlighted some of the reasons why, and let's just talk about them. So, the first point is the technology has matured, right? So, in terms of Bitcoin and blockchain, in 2017, there was a lot of FOMO. So, FOMO means fear of missing out, right? People see the price of Bitcoin going up, going down, they want to get into the market, and there wasn't very much stability. And according to the author, there were a lot of speculators in 2017. And what does speculation mean? It means, we're entering a market and taking more of a gambling stance, right? So there's nothing really behind the product or what you're betting on, and you're just sort of flipping a coin and wondering if you're going to make a quick buck, right? So that's what speculation means. And the author is stating essentially that in 2017 there was more hype, there's more speculation, and that Bitcoin in particular now in 2021 is beyond the hype. And I mentioned to you that I've been in the blockchain space. Blockchain hasn't been around for very long, right? So it's been around for a few years only. And I've been doing it for the last 3 or 4 years. And I've been personally waiting for this moment because we saw a lot of potential in the technology. The platform that Bitcoin is built on is called blockchain, right? And I've been designing and developing blockchain platforms and networks for enterprise companies. So we've always we've always understood the potential for the technology. We've been waiting for sort of this turning point or this catalyst for the general market and the general populations to start adopting blockchain and in particular Bitcoin. And you know, for better or for worse, those two are correlated. When people think of blockchain, they think of Bitcoin, and when they think of Bitcoin and vice versa, they think of blockchain, right? So, according to the author, the technology has hit a life cycle curve. And sorry, let me say that again. So, in terms of what the author is stating is a technology life cycle curve, Bitcoin is in the early adoption phase. That's quite interesting. I think the person might be right. I think Francesco might be right. So, if you are just joining, this is I, the Money Guy. I go live every Sunday night, 7 p.m. on TikTok, straight out of TikTok studios. I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday night, by the way. I hope you can join. I do publish my live videos to my YouTube channel, which I'm trying to grow as well. Come if you want to learn about money, if you want to learn about personal finance, improving in that area. Leave a comment with any questions that you may have. Let me talk about the second point. So I am in the news section of the program, and excuse me, I am reading an article called Why Bitcoin's All-Time High in 2021 is Different Than It Was in 2017. Okay, the author is Francesco Galati. It's a 10-minute read on growaholiclab.com. It's an excellent article. It's excellent. So the first point that was made by the author was that the technology has matured. The second point is legislative clarity and institutional investors. And this is a really good point because now you see that in 2017 there were literally countries that were banning Bitcoin from being used, and if you look now, there's over 130 countries that have established different rules to trade in Bitcoin. Okay, so governments are putting in rules on how you can use the cryptocurrency and what the implications of investing in that cryptocurrency are. So that's big. And I'll give you an example, or the author gives an example, sorry. In UK, there's a capital gains tax on cryptocurrency, so that's a first. And in other countries, there are income taxes. So if you make money from trading in Bitcoin, you have to pay an income tax. So it's kind of surreal how this is all happening. And The prominent countries that are adopting this really quickly are Malta, Switzerland, and Singapore. So let's just think about that for a little bit, right? So now we have countries that are, really thinking about the implications of what it means to trade in Bitcoin. And if, in particular, if you're making money, the governments are interested, right? Because they want a piece of that. And, we have income taxes. So countries are implementing income taxes on cryptocurrencies. And we have capital gains taxes. So if you buy a stock and you make a profit on that stock, you have to pay a capital gains tax, a tax on that gain. And essentially, they're applying the same model for cryptocurrency. So if you buy Bitcoin at today's price of $33,000 and it goes to, $66,000, and you're going to have to pay a tax on that gain. If your money double, you're going to have to pay pretty big tax. So is that a signal of legitimacy? I think it might be, in my opinion. I'm just giving you my opinion. I'm not telling you to go and invest into any cryptocurrency. All I'm saying is that I think that we are reaching a turning point, and it seems a little bit more legitimate. Um, Another point that the author makes is that institutional investors are getting involved in Bitcoin. So Wall Street's talking about it. Warren Buffett and Bill Gates are generally not fans of Bitcoin. They have some famous video clips where they don't believe in it at all. So is this a matter of old school mentality versus the new school mentality? I think it might be, right? So do some of the legacy investors not fully understand the technology, or do they know it really well? It's hard to say. It's hard to say that Warren Buffett is wrong. And I know that people do it all the time. They think he's kind of old, but he's one of the greatest investors of all time, right? What do you think? Do you think that Warren Buffett and Bill Gates are wrong about Bitcoin? One point, I think Bill Gates said that he wished that he could short Bitcoin. That's interesting. Maybe their tone would be slightly different today. But nonetheless, the author makes a point that institutional investors are getting heavily involved in cryptocurrency. And for me, that sort of is another indication in why I started to pay attention. And remember, I'm not heavily invested in Bitcoin, but it did catch my eye. In particular, there are two major companies, Grayscale and Microservices, who have bought in, and I mean a lot of money. So um, yeah, it's also another cryptocurrency is also another asset that is quite easy for investors to hold, and it's becoming easier for the mainstream to invest in as an alternative asset. And that was one of the barriers before, right? So like, how do you buy Bitcoin and how do you get into the market? I did eventually buy my first Bitcoin through Wealthsimple. So Wealthsimple is an online brokerage, and you have the ability, excuse me, anyone has the ability to open up a Wealthsimple account and buy cryptocurrency. You connect it to your bank, and you buy some crypto. And you don't have to be intimidated by the price of Bitcoin. So even if Bitcoin is worth $33,000 for a single Bitcoin, you can buy a fraction of it, right? So if you put in, let's say, $100, then you would get 100 divided by 33,000. However much that is, it's a very small number. Obviously, maybe it's like 0.003 or something like that. But you'd get a small amount of Bitcoin, but you'd have at least a piece of it. So Wealthsimple made cryptocurrency much more accessible to the layman crypto investor. Before, with crypto, you have to buy wallets, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that you have to do. And I'm sure then you have to trust in exchanges. And there's been some shady stuff that has happened with some exchanges in the past. With an institution like Wealthsimple, I think just from the branding, there's a little bit more security, right? You might have to pay a small fee, but they take care of everything. They take care of the storage, and all you do is you just put money in and you buy some Bitcoin. So That's another good sign that mainstream adoption could be nearby. So if you're joining, this is Zai the Money Guy. I am live out of TikTok studios, out of Toronto, Ontario, every Sunday night, out of a live studio audience. Excuse me. Thank you for joining. I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday night. It is January 3rd, 2021. This is Sunday night. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining. There is a question that did come in. I'll address the question. I am going through, I do a live show every Sunday night, and I am going through in the news section, but let me just answer the question. How do you suggest a good way to teach my daughter on how to invest? That's a great question. I think, one, I would recommend your daughter follow my account. That's a shameless plug. But the reason I created this account was to be sort of the bridge between, to essentially address the exact question that you're asking, because I felt that there's a gap between investing and getting good with money. And I think I would teach, first, I would teach your daughter, maybe your daughter already is perhaps good with money. And if that's the case, then she will be a good investor. But I think it's about managing cash flow first, right? And by that, I mean understanding how to budget your money, right? Making sure that you have an emergency fund, learning how to save so that you have actual money to invest with, and getting those systems in place. I think that is first. And that's what I would tell anybody. I would never tell someone who is young in their 20s to go and buy a stock, right? Most 20-year-olds are like, I have $1,000. What stock should I buy? Um, that's already probably not the best approach or even question to ask, right? But I think their intentions are good, but I hope no one would tell them to go and buy, a few shares of Tesla. Instead, I would probably encourage your child to learn how to get good with money first. Um, oh, okay. The Nortel, right. Everyone's permanent. Yes, exactly. So thank you so much, one super 777 for your comments. I highly appreciate them. I'll read yours out loud. I think it's a good one. My comment on Nortel is relevant. Everyone is promoting Tesla and Amazon with 10-year returns. I think you know probably how to teach your daughter how to invest, and it's not by watching those types of accounts that are promising quick returns, right? Um, it's I would say that teach the foundations of budgeting first, right? Cash flow, making sure that he or she knows how she knows how to build an emergency fund, how to just save money and how to look for opportunities, right? And then probably how to increase her income. I don't know how old she is, right? But if I had a daughter who was in her teens or um, going into university, I would probably encourage them to increase their income to get them to higher income brackets so that they'll have more money to invest when they're ready. And then, of course, you want to teach all of the financial literacy stuff around investing, right? So then she can start reading up on investing, right? Learning about the different, um, learning about ETFs, index funds, and the savings accounts and the tax benefited savings accounts. TikTok is a great place, by the way. So my account doesn't go into some of those investment details, but there's a ton of accounts that do. Um, there's the Layman Investor is a really famous one. There's another Canadian girl that does a great one where she talks about, you know, um, she defines things like TFSAs and RRSPs. I know what those mean. And my channel is, as I mentioned, more about getting good with your money before investing, but there's a ton of content. Um, and your daughter should just follow those accounts and learn the basics. But like I said, get good with the money first, then go into investing. Uh, I do have a course in my profile called How to Budget Through Better Habits, and it teaches you how to get good with your money before investing. I think that's where the gap is for a lot of people. I mean, if you think about it, right? And I'm not saying this about any of my viewers, but if someone is like $50,000 in credit card debt, then they don't need to learn how to invest their money. They need to learn how to get rid of their credit card debt, right? Or if someone's living paycheck to paycheck and they have zero emergency fund money, then putting $10,000 into the stock market, over might make you money over the long run, but it's probably not going to improve your financial position overall. All right, Toronto. Awesome. I'm also live out of TikTok studios out of Toronto, Ontario. It is Sunday. I am doing a news segment where we're talking about Bitcoin. Um, like would I tell your daughter to invest in Bitcoin? I wouldn't tell anyone to invest in Bitcoin, but I'm just sharing the information. I did recently put some money into BTC. I'm not giving financial advice, but I am talking about an article where the author says that Bitcoin's all-time high in 2021 is different than it was in 2017. That caught my eye, and I just have a different feeling about Bitcoin this year, this morning. And it's the first time that I felt like this. I'm not invested in Bitcoin. And at the beginning of my show, I did mention there's a little bit of an irony there because I'm part of a blockchain team, and blockchain is the foundational platform that Bitcoin is built on. So I believe in the technology, I believe in the software. I didn't believe enough in BTC to invest my money, and that might be a loss for me. I don't know. You don't know with these things, right? Um, Towards the end of the show, I'm going to talk about how I am invested in BTC and a safe way to do it, a safe approach. But let me just continue with some of the other reasons why this author in particular thinks that this year is different for Bitcoin. And the author is Francesco Gelati of growaholiclab.com. It's a great article. I usually don't talk about Bitcoin on my show, but we will because there's always opportunity in all different types of assets, right? It's all about diversifying. Let's get to point number 3, on-chain metrics. So here the author talks about Bitcoin being compared to the other coins. There's all sorts of different cryptocurrencies, right? Like Dogecoin, Ethereum. Bitcoin seems to be the dominant leader. Bitcoin is kind of like the well, not the monster. What's the word that I'm looking for? But uh, pretty. It's the big fish. Bitcoin is the big fish in the ocean or the sea of. Sorry, that's a terrible analogy of coins. Bitcoin's the leader right now, and because of that, it has a strong network with a lot of wallets. So what does that mean? That's nerd talk of saying that a lot of people are using Bitcoin and a lot of people are invested in it, and the infrastructure is there. They have wallets. They're using their wallets. Now, how many? Now, this really caught me by surprise. 33 million wallets. And of the 33 million wallets, 96% are in profit. Uh, to me, that's amazing. I'm not here selling Bitcoin, by the way. I told you towards the beginning of the show, I'm not heavily invested in it. Um, but my friend, I do have a friend who is heavily invested in it, and I mean like over, I think over 20% of his income he puts into coins. He sent me this article this morning because I'm Mr. Skepticism and I'm always ripping him. I'm always worried that um, I think that cryptocurrency is like this pump and dump scheme, and I'm always worried about that. He sent me this article, and it doesn't seem that way because the average holding time for a lot of these people is 3 years, and that's a long time. So people aren't entering the market and then just leaving. You think they might be because you see these ups and downs of the price of Bitcoin, but um, people are holding and not trading. And there's a famous term in the cryptocurrency industry or among the cryptocurrency users, and it's HODL, HDL, HODL, 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 and that means hold on for dear life. That's their motto, and it looks like they are. So that caught me off guard. It's actually a lot more stable than how I perceived, and I think that for Bitcoin, I think that might be a good thing. So point number 4 in this article. So by the way, thank you so much for joining tonight, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday night. Sonia, thank you for the follow. Um, this is Zai, the Money Guy. I go live every Sunday night. And the Sports Beast, it seems like the Sports Beast is online. I think you changed your username, Sports Beast. Oh no. I'm gonna have to update my shoutouts to you, but I hope you're having a wonderful night. We are talking about the B word on Live with Zai, the Money Guy. And the B word is Bitcoin, because this is the first time, at least for me, where I've had a change of heart towards cryptocurrency. And I talked about the irony of my position. I'm a blockchain developer. I work with blockchain, and I'm not heavily invested in cryptocurrency. Some of my coworkers are, but I heard them buying all sorts of different coins. Like they used to one. I don't want to throw my coworker under the bus, but he bought some EOS, and it went to it's garbage pretty much. He lost a lot of money, right? So I kind of just watched from afar, but I've always been sort of conservative about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin in particular, but I've never written it completely off because I think that's silly. And I think 2021, maybe I'm shooting myself in the foot, because who knows, maybe tomorrow it's going to tank, or in a week and it tanks. But, according to this article that I'm reading, right, these are all very good points. The first point was the technology has matured. The second point is that legislation is now being implemented, and institutional investors, right, like Grayscale and microservices, are heavily invested in cryptocurrency, like hundreds of millions of dollars, by the way. And the third point is the on-chain metrics. So Bitcoin, of all the coins, is the most stable. The fourth point, Bitcoin, a scarce and deflationary commodity. A scarce and deflationary commodity. So, one of the arguments that cryptocurrency, or yeah, one of the arguments that cryptocurrency enthusiasts, um, one of the arguments that they make is that they are afraid of inflation, and they are afraid of, in particular, the US dollar or the Canadian dollar suffering from inflation, especially when there's a lot of government borrowing, as there is right now, obviously, because of COVID. They feel that the value of the dollar will decrease. And where, like where Bitcoin sort of combats that, or one of the benefits of Bitcoin, is that it is a scarce commodity. You can't increase or create large amounts of Bitcoin where it loses its value, right? So people call it a store of value, like gold. And I thought of this analogy earlier. It's very much, the way that I think of it is very much like the diamond industry, right? You take a diamond, and you put it on the finger when you want to marry someone, right? The woman puts the diamond. I think many people understand the value of a diamond and why they're so expensive, right? But if you think about a diamond, it's a rock. It's a very pretty rock. And without getting into the politics of diamonds, there's an associated value to how much a diamond is worth. And women know what that value is, right? They know that, if you want to marry me, you better buy me a really nice ring. And I don't even know how much they go for, but even if a diamond ring is $10,000, it's a lot of money for a rock. So, and like I said, without getting into the politics of the diamond industry, the companies in the diamond industry, they understand the value of scarcity, so they advertise and they make sure that everyone knows that there's a limited supply of diamonds. And that's why diamonds are rare, and that's why they are so valuable. I said I wouldn't go into the politics, but apparently the supply isn't limited with diamonds. So, um, even still, they've convinced people that a diamond is rare and it is valuable. So that's how I started to think about Bitcoin. It's very similar to a diamond. The less of them there are, the more rare they will be and the higher their value, right? So right now, everyone's trying to get their hand on a Bitcoin or a diamond, essentially, right? And there's a limit to how many Bitcoin can be mined. And that limit is 21 million Bitcoin. So there only exists 21 million of them, and the last one will be mined in the year 2140. I don't think I will be alive. I don't think so. I don't think I'll make it that far. It's too bad. But up until then, there's only 21 million Bitcoin. So the less of something there is, the more valuable it is. And like the Winklevoss brothers. So they were one of the founders of Facebook, and they talk about Bitcoin being even better than gold because to find gold on Earth, eventually you'll have to start mining it in different places like asteroids. You'll run out of places on Earth to mine gold, whereas with Bitcoin, you can mine it anywhere, anywhere on the planet. So that's really interesting. So the point that the author is trying to make here is that Bitcoin is scarce and deflationary. That's the word that I was trying to say. And I think that's a good point, right? So the diamond analogy, the more valuable something is, it's kind of like the gold rush too. So imagine when everyone was out and they're trying to get their hands on gold. So would you want to be part of that gold rush? That's the question everyone is asking right now. Is it the same thing? That's what everyone's wondering. So if you're just joining, thank you for joining. This is the Money Guy, Sunday night out of Toronto, Ontario. I hope you're having a wonderful night. I'm just wrapping up this article. We're talking about why the author thinks that Bitcoin's all-time high in 2021 is different than what it was in 2017. And it's a really interesting article. It's on growholiclab.com by Francesco Gelati. It's a 10-minute read. I suggest that you check it out. As I mentioned before, I'm not invested in Bitcoin, but this is the first time where I'm actually feeling slightly different about cryptocurrency. And it's becoming more and more mainstream and more stable, which I think will lead to better adoption. That's my opinion. I'm not giving investment advice here, okay? The fifth and last point that the author makes is that in terms of the history of the network that Bitcoin is on, it's 12 years old by now. It's a secure financial network. It secures $500 billion. And it has an uptime of 99%. It's built on blockchain technology. I mentioned earlier in the show that I am on a blockchain team, so I believe in the technology. I'm passionate about the platform. In terms of a financial network, right? It's been around for 12 years and it holds $500 billion. That's a lot. And it has an uptime of 99%. That's like a Google or like an Amazon, right? So the question is, are we reaching the turning point for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency? Is it becoming more mainstream? Are people learning more about it? Leave a comment. What do you think? Is Bitcoin for you? Do you still have questions about it? Do you understand it? Do you not trust it? Would you put your money into it? Are you invested in it? Leave it in the comments. Let me know. I think that, and this is the first time, it's 2021, this is the first time for me where I'm actually sold a little bit more on it. Now, does that mean that I'm going to take 50 to 60% of my income and put it in cryptocurrency? It doesn't. So let's go to the teachable moment part of my show. If you're just joining, this is the Money Guy. I am in front of a studio audience live out of Toronto, Ontario. How's everyone doing? Sunday night. I'm gonna wrap up shortly. I know tomorrow's the first day of school for a lot of people. Back to work after a 15-day holiday. Excuse me. Maybe I'm a little bit stressed out about that, coughing up a storm. But are you guys back to work tomorrow? So hope you got some rest. It's going to be an interesting year. I wish you all the best and the best of luck in your new year. But let's talk about the teachable moment. I talked about Bitcoin for the most part of the show. So the question is, would you invest your money in Bitcoin? And my first piece of advice is to never invest um, from a FOMO perspective. What does FOMO mean? It means fear of missing out, right? You should never go into any market because you feel that other people are making money and you want a piece of that because that can be dangerous. So when you see the price go up, it's like you start thinking, man, if I had invested, $1,000 at the beginning of the year, I would have made, probably 30%. And for any type of investing vehicle, I don't think you can think that way, right? So what I do, and I'll share my personal strategy, I invest 1% of my paycheck, 1%, right? So $1 out of $100 into cryptocurrency. And that's a very small amount, but that 1%, I consider that throwaway money, money that I am 100% sure and willing to throw away, that I do not need, that if I lose, I lose, but if I gain, I gain. And because 1% is such a small amount, the gains won't come until years and years from now, right? So, if I put in $100 at the current price, I'd get 0.003 Bitcoin. Um, but, that $100, if Bitcoin goes to $1 million, then that $100 will be $3,000, right? That might be over the span of 20 years, but just imagine if I'm putting in $100 a month, right? And then the numbers can get significant. Now, the early investors in Bitcoin will be very well off, very well off. And I just went over five, you know, five main reasons why it looks promising according to this author. Like I said, who knows what's going to happen tomorrow or a week from now? Maybe there'll be a giant crash. But even if there is a crash, I don't think the people who are invested in Bitcoin, I don't think they're going anywhere. I think it is becoming more mainstream. My strategy is throw away money, 1%, dollar cost averaging. So despite the price of BTC or Bitcoin, I buy at regular intervals and it's with my paycheck, right? People might be like, well, it's so expensive now. Are you going to buy? I am. And if it crashes, will I buy? I'll buy the same amount. That's dollar cost averaging. So I'm not here to give investment advice, but that is one strategy, right? It's like, is there a percentage of your money? And some people think that number is 1%, where you consider it throwaway money. Then you can throw that money away and you can put it into cryptocurrency. If you're more brave than I am, then you can invest more. Or perhaps you don't invest at all and you just sort of watch. No one knows what the true answer is, but it was a doozy of an article, and I talked about it for the entire show. I think you should check it out. That is all for me. It's been another wonderful Sunday night. It's January 3rd, 2021. You're live with Zai, the Money Guy. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for following my account. Catch me every Sunday night at 7 p.m. I will be doing this show. I do upload this show to my YouTube channel where I am trying to grow that channel as well. As I mentioned, I do have a course on Udemy called How to Budget Through Better Habits. It's in my profile. If that is something that is interesting to you, then please check that out. Sonia, thank you so much for watching. Don't thank me for my time. Thank you for joining, and thank you for your time. I'm taking precious time out of your evening, and I'm glad that you're able to join. I hope you can gain a tidbit here and there, My account is about getting better with your finances, getting better with your money. It was inspired by Gary Vaynerchuk, who I watched one of his TikToks, and he was like, "No one teaches you how to save money." So for the last year and a half, I've been putting together content teaching people how to save money. I started this channel. That's the message that I want to share with everybody. Um, my motto is you don't have to be a financial expert to be an expert in your finances. I truly believe that. I have a Udemy course, check it out. It teaches you how to build your emergency fund, how to get rid of your credit card debt, living below your means. Nonetheless, all my content on TikTok is for free. I do this show every Sunday night live. Hopefully, TikTok will allow me to upload this episode to YouTube. But that is it. Let me know what you think about Bitcoin. We talked about Bitcoin all night. It's a doozy of a conversation, and it's quite interesting. And we will see what direction it heads in. I think it might be here to stay. That's the first time you will hear that from me. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful night. This is I signing off. Good night, and we'll catch you next time.